After 300, yes, 300 hours of live play, I do something in today's video that I have never done before. A huge poker accomplishment for me. Welcome back to today's video. Ace Poker here. I win over $2,000 today. Strap in, watch the entire video full of action. Let's get right into it. Alright everyone, welcome back. Just like last video, we start off the day with pocket aces. But first, I wanted to show you the crazy hand that happened right when I sat down at the table. Right away, the player to my left goes all in for $600 into a $400 pot right on the turn. And I want you guys to guess what he has on a 9-2 jack, turn 10 with 2 hearts board. I was thinking flush draw, but after the other player decides to tank forever and call, he shows ace queen high. What is going on? The other player tank called with queens. It's nice to know that he's nitty for the future. Off to see a river. Will they chop? Will the ace come? And no, queens hold. What a crazy hand, and let's get into my first hand. So yeah, some pretty crazy action on this table. Hopefully we can get some here. Back to the ace's hand. Under the gun limps. We decide to open it up to $20. It gets back to under the gun. I'm hoping he's got kings or queens, something crazy where he's going to limp re-raise, but he just makes the call. So that's that for everyone that's like, a limp under the gun is always aces and kings. Like, no, everybody plays differently. But nonetheless, we see a good board. Under the gun checks. I decide to c-bet here for $25, and under the gun folds. But don't worry, every other hand in this vlog is over thousands of dollars in every pot, and we win a massive one with aces, so stay tuned. Alright, time for one of the hands that's definitely tied for hand of the night. We look down at ace queen offsuit in the big blind. The entire table limps. Yes, the entire table limps. Gets all the way to the small blind. He's a funny guy. He goes, nope, we're not staying at 5. We're going to 35.
Nope, we are not staying at 5.
Well, that's why I didn't raise.
Nope, we're not staying at 5. Forget it. Limp. No limping.
Not staying at 35.
Oh, we are not staying at 35.
So, you know, I always have to try to be a little bit funny, and I go, and we're not staying at 35. We're going to 110. And he's laughing. He's like, oh, okay, you hear him. So it gets back to him. Everyone folds, and he makes the call. He's definitely a loose, aggressive player. He was very funny, you know, having a good time. Briefly, I did just want to thank Poker Chill for sponsoring today's video. We arrive at the river with ace, no kicker. Our friend bets. We decide to put in the call, and we are good versus the jack 10. Let's get back to today's video. So we're looking for a good board, and it comes ace 8-6 with 2 hearts, a beautiful board. He checks. I decide to down bet all the way to $60. Yes, super small, but I love these small sizings because it gets your opponent to do some crazy things, like right here when now the small blind check raises to 175. Immediately, I was thinking flush draw because he's not going to have ace king. He's not going to have all of these super strong aces. He definitely could have pocket 8s, pocket 6s trying to get the money in, but like I said, he's a loose, aggressive, fun player, so I think he's definitely going to have a lot of king, queen of hearts, king jack of hearts, all those types of hands. Since he's loose, like I said, he could have a boatload of equity if he has something like 7-9 of hearts, 9-10 of hearts, something of that nature. So I did debate just jamming all in because he wasn't going to fold a flush, but you know, I'm in position. There's no reason to do that. I just make the call. Looking for a good turn, and if he somehow had 2 pair, now we're beating him. The queen of clubs just gin instantly before the dealer can even pull his hand all the way back. The small blind goes all in, and I just think that this is going to be a fold here. Yeah, no, I'm just completely kidding. I snap call, roll the clip.
Come on.
Hey, call.
Oh, I'm fucked.
And he goes, oh, I'm fucked. Which is really, really funny. So I don't know if he's drawing dead, but the river comes the 2 of diamonds. I show the ace queen, and it looks like we're good. When my opponent picks up his cards to throw them in the muck, we see the 7 of hearts, which is really weird. If he had 7-9 of hearts, he had a boatload of equity, so he wasn't actually effed. But let's go, and don't you dare go anywhere, because for the rest of the session, we play multiple $1,000 pots. Let's get right into it. This game is playing massive. There's tons and tons of action, as every single hand is getting 3-bet, 4-bet, and that's exactly why I just call with king queen offsuit here. And the player to my left decides to 3-bet it up to $145. He's been very aggressive, and I'm waiting for a hand against him. And this next hand, we get into quite the hand with him, so strap in. Oh yeah, what better hand to do this with than pocket aces? Oh yeah, there's no better feeling than in a big game, people are aggressive, lots of money's going in, and you look down at pocket aces not once but twice in the session. And even better, some action ensues as Under the Gun opens it up to $20, and the next 2 players call. What is going on? The next 2 players fold. As you see, we are on the cutoff here. It's obviously time to 3-bet. This is not the game to trap in. People are putting money in, so what size should we choose? I don't want to go too big, but we also can't make it too cheap where the entire table is going to call. So I make it 105. I think that's a good sizing. Let me know down below if you guys would have changed something different there. And now the button looks down. The same player that's been aggressive, the same player that 3-bet in the last hand, decides to cut out some chips and 3-bet to $275. What is going on? We have to rub our eyes. We are in an action game. We have aces and we get 4-bet by an action player. It feels so nice when the good karma is coming back around. Now, I want to talk about the sizing a little bit. If he had something like ace-king suited, which obviously we blocked, there's only 2 combos of that left, I think he would have gone bigger, $350, $400, really trying to put the pressure on me. I think that this sizing is very much indicative of a super strong hand, such as kings, queens, jacks. He could even be doing this with 10s and 9s if he's super aggressive, which he is. And now the thoughts are racing through my mind. Is this finally going to be the first time ever after 300 hours of live play that I'm going to get aces into kings, aces into queens? But I have to snap back to reality. I don't know. What if he has queens? What if he has jacks? We can't let him off the hook. I don't think that against this opponent in this type of game that I could be flat calling. Obviously, you don't want to just be 5-betting aces all the time. You need to have traps because in a live game, really, do you guys see any 5-bets? I never see any 5-bets, so a 5-bet is pretty much just aces or kings. I don't really think much people are doing that with ace-king suited. I definitely am not. I mean, maybe I would in the right circumstance. I don't know, but you guys get the point. Like I said, he's an action player. I know I've said that a million times. But say he does have queens, jacks here, and he would be willing to flip with that pre-flop, thinking, you know, I might have ace-king or, I don't know, ace-queen suited. I don't know what he thinks my image is. And I do decide to flat call that, and there is an ace on the flop or a king on the flop. He's definitely going to be able to fold and get away from those, so you want to just get it in now. Okay, so now time to 5-bet here. I don't want to let him off the hook, so I do want to give a price where he pretty much is going to call with queens, jacks, 10s. Obviously, he'll rejam with pocket kings. So I go super small. I decide to 5-bet, yes, 5-bet here to $605. I just throw the $500 chip in. My opponent sighs and then decides to go all in. I snap call and he says, oh, do you have aces?
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, versus kings.
Jesus. Right.
And I say yes, and he has pocket kings. Let's go. But we cannot celebrate too early. My heart is racing. Like you see here, I had about $1,500, and my opponent has a similar stack. This could be absolutely massive. Let's go to the run out. The flop comes. It looks good. It definitely would have been an interesting one to play post-flop. Let's go to the turn. The turn, it's a face card, but it's a queen. I was sweating. I thought it was a king. The river comes, and it's clean. We scoop. Let's go. The first time in 300 hours of live play. Do not go anywhere. The next hand is absolutely crazy. Let me just spit my emotions for a little bit. I've been playing for so long. I've been waiting for this to happen to me. It happened at the perfect time against a crazy, aggressive opponent who had the same stack as me. So we get basically a full double up. This was the perfect time. I am just on an absolute high right now. We are up almost $2,000 on this session, but it does not end here. Do not go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen, because the next hand is crazy as well. Let's go. I mean, this chip stack is just beautiful. I really do like how they have the casino on the chip. But listen, this next hand is pretty crazy. I want you guys to strap in and actually give me some feedback because I'm not sure how I played it, but let's just head to the next hand. For this next hand here, we look down at ace-9 of clubs in the big blind. The player to my left, who I just stacked, decides to straddle for $10. And now, under the gun +1, who's, I guess, technically under the gun with a straddle, whatever you want to call him, decides to raise it, but min raises it to $20. I'm not sure if he didn't realize that the straddle's on or what's going on, but that's super weird. The cutoff decides to call, and obviously we could raise, but in this type of game, when everyone decides to 3-bet and 4-bet, and when the player to my left still has his action, I don't want to give him a chance to go crazy, so I just put in the call, kind of fully sort of expecting him to raise, but he just calls as well, so we're going 4 ways to a board, which is really interesting. We flop top pair on an extremely dynamic and wet board. I decided to start off with a check. The player to my left who straddled definitely could have any 2 here. He could have flopped 2 pair, a straight draw, and a flush draw, all these types of hands. Not worried about the initial raiser. He was sort of the OMC type, so I know he definitely whiffed this. Straddler checks, he checks like I saw coming, and now the cutoff decides to bet for $40. So here's our first decision point, a super interesting one here, right? So we have top pair, top kicker, but I mean, even the cutoff just flat calling this raise can have so many hands that are really good here. He could have 9-8, he could have a really good hand like 6-7 of hearts, something of that nature, but I obviously don't want to let my hand go, and I don't really want to call and then let my loose aggressive player to my left raise or call himself. And then I also don't want the initial raiser to just float with his ace-king, ace-queen, king-queen, something of that nature. So I actually decided to put in a raise here. I raised it up to $110. I'm happy to see that the straddler folds. He was not putting in some kind of check raise trap. And the initial raiser folds, which I saw coming as well. And now the cutoff thinks and decides to flick in the call. All right, so we're going to a turn. I don't want to see any heart, but we actually do see a heart, an extremely interesting one, the ace of hearts. It's pretty interesting because that rules out me just check raising with the ace-high flush draw. It obviously eliminates him having the ace-high flush draw. So now it's like, what does he have? And he's thinking, what do I have? So instead of betting out here and representing the flush, I think for a super long time and decide to check. And now when it's on the cutoff, he decides to take back over the betting lead and bets out for $125. He obviously could have just turned a flush. He could now be bluffing if he said had king 9 with the king of hearts. So many different hands he could have here. But I do think he would bet bigger to try to push me off any pair and just rep a flush. Nonetheless, obviously we've got some outs to a boat to cooler him. If he does have a flush, we also could be good here. So I decide to flick in the call, and things go from weird and worse to even weirder and much, much worse as the 10 of hearts rolls off on the river. Absolutely disgusting. Now, if he was bluffing with the king of hearts, like I thought that was a possibility, he's now beating us. If he somehow has like the 3 of hearts in his hand, if he was just calling with, say, jack 9 with the jack of hearts, queen 9 with the queen of hearts, so many hands beat us. So I frustratingly decide to check, which I know opens the green light for my opponent to bluff if he does not have a heart. But thankfully he snap checks back, and oh my goodness, he shows ace 8. One of the hands that we could have gotten some value from had just the run out not being gross like that. But I am happy to take this one down, and let's head to the next one. Although the game was action-packed, I could not get any more hands, and over a short 4-hour session, we wound up winning $2,000. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this session that I will never forget. Have a great day.